Hey, 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 hey. Chris Courtney here, New Pragmatic. It's time for the feedback loop. It is the pre show, so, you can always tell I'm a little subdued. I'm a little subdued before we get the couch bot firing. I hope you are doing well where you are. Just a couple things to point out before we get started. We've got a new channel that is now up and running called Job Talk. And I'm posting into that Job Talk channel every day. I'm kind of going through and giving you a rundown of what I see happening over in the design didn't want to talk to anybody about jobs, to be completely honest with you, because the market was so grim. But now it's very robust again, and I want to get that. I want to get that job announcement email thing back up and running because I do feel like it was well received. It had a high open rate, and there's a lot of people signed up for it. There's a more than a few names on that list. So I'm trying to basically put together my thoughts for you. I'm trying to put together my thoughts for you related to the job search, particularly if you are a subscriber. If you're one of my monthly subscribers for New Pragmatic and you're coming through and you're getting mentorship, I've got this special channel for you so you can kind of see what my thoughts are before that weekly email comes out. So the weekly email will come out. You'll have an opportunity to read it if you're not a subscriber, if you're just kind of hanging out, you're more of a supporter, and that's fine. I love you supporters. That weekly email will come out, but if you're a subscriber, you're going to get to see it basically come together live. Um, okay. Sorry, if you already reviewed old code. If so, I can work with my apologies. Yeah, it's okay, Charlie. I've not because Couchbot just fired. I have not reviewed anything yet. And actually, I was not looking specifically at your code. I was looking mainly at the site itself. So Charlie just shot a question into the channel, which, by the way, you can do if you're watching this. The Discord channel. I always have the Discord channel up and open off to the side so I can kind of peek down and it will catch my attention. And at that point, I will try to address it as we go. But just wanted to mention the Job Talk channel. Also, the newsletter coming back. And then, hey, you know what? Couchbot's fired. So let's just do this, okay? All right. Greetings, one and all. Chris Courtney here, New Pragmatic. It's time for the feedback loop. We are excited to have Katie and Charlie back in here with some submissions today. Also wanted to mention that we've got a new feature that I've been kind of noodling on for a little while, trying to. I've heard from you that there are a lot of jobs that come through the jobs channel, and it can be overwhelming to go through there every day and wow, there's a new pile of jobs, and it's more of a feed, to be completely honest with you. It's not a site set up to really neatly show you this type of job or that type of job. You kind of have to go through and maybe use the search functionality in Discord to find what you're looking for. But I produce a weekly newsletter, or at least I did in the past. When everything crashed down, it seemed kind of weird to like send out a newsletter for jobs when there were no jobs. But that is not the case anymore. The job market has come roaring back. We've had three new Pragmatic design students in the last week land jobs. So I feel very good. And there's many more that are interviewing at different places. But I feel very good about the state of the design job economy right now. It's it's strange, but I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that um, this is a role that you can do remotely, and I think people have finally warmed up to the idea of remote work because of the pandemic. So we're seeing a lot of growth there, and I'm going to share my screen so I can show you exactly where this is at. So anybody who might go looking for this can come on over and find it. So here's Discord, and you can obviously see that CouchBot's fired. That's why we're having this conversation. But right on down here in the text channels, just below Feedback Loop and Daily Stand Up, is our new Job Talk channel. This is a private channel for the subscribers. So if you're signed up for monthly mentorship, you're going to get my daily take on what jobs have been posted into design jobs that I think you should be taking a closer look at. And as I stated before, design jobs is a wave of jobs. Lots of Behance, lots of UX job board, lots of Dribble. So by the way, there's a community designer advocate at Stark. I thought that was a really cool job. I called it out in the channel yesterday. Square is also hiring. Square. Who doesn't like Square? But you got to be in Canada. So there are a number of jobs that you will see coming through this design jobs channel. I'm giving you my take now over here in Job Talk, so that you can get an opportunity to basically have me kind of sort through them for you. If you are not a member of if you're not a member of the program, Design Jobs is there for you, and we're glad to have you in the community, and I want to make sure that you're aware of Design Jobs. But if you are a member of the program, Job Talk is there for you, because I'm trying to genuinely speed up the process. These are the jobs that I think everybody should be taking a look at if you're in the program as of right now. With that said, let's go ahead and jump on over to Katie. Katie's been working on her latest work here, the project audit, and essentially what the project audit is, if I can get over here to it, she's gone through interface design and has now come back to Fresh Market, and Katie is basically now tasked with applying what she learned in interface design to the Fresh Market project. Well, it takes a second to kind of refamiliarize yourself with a project. So what the audit is meant to do is basically have you go back through, look at the last round of user testing that you did, and begin to pick out, okay, what were the highlights? What did people like, and what have you now noticed from not only the testing that was performed, but also from the interface design course? What have you noticed that needs to take a step forward? And that will allow you to really focus your effort as you begin this very choose your own adventure portion of the program, where no two Fresh Market projects are meant to be alike. They all should have their own, yes, they are all the same base project, but they all should have their own unique style, their own unique problems they are trying to solve. So we're trying to get you back onto your particular path, not necessarily Eve's path or Luigi's path or Kara's path. Anyway, so right here you've got your audit, and so you're reviewing the tests that you did. You tested with Mike, Jacob, and Nick, and you've got some takeaways. You mentioned the menu page is a little messy. He thinks all food should have started in categories. He also brought up changing shipping to pickup and delivery. Good call there. Document items that test it well in your tests. So customization of meals, they like that. They like it simple and not overcomplicated. Checkout was very easy. That's good, because as we've seen with others, There are holes in the checkout process that can be very easy to overlook. Um, have a lot of suggestions to make it better, but the information was clear. Login and creating an account were clear and easy to follow, which is good because if the login doesn't work, well, that's going to be a problem. All right, create a list of 5 things to consider for updating. Be detailed in identifying the problem and possible solutions. So the menu page, Nick mentioned that. So this is important, and it's something I want to point out. This is the difference between a regular old school project that you're doing for a class and real work. When you're testing with other people and you're recognizing the things that they're pointing out and you're wanting to fix the things that they're bringing to your attention, that's when it crosses that boundary. Okay? This is not just, oh, I want to do this and I want to do that. You're like, yeah, Nick pointed out that there was something wrong with this, and now I want to make it better. That's when you've crossed the chasm. So you want to update the menu page. I think having every meal option laid out is a bit overwhelming. Want to break it up into categories, clearly label. Yeah, this overwhelming thing, that is very much a real concern. It's when you put too many options in front of people, they lock up. Okay, that's just that's one of the reasons why companies like let's take Ticketmaster for instance, instead of having you choose your own seat, the first option is always choose best available, and that allows them to say these 2 over here are the best available of the 20,000 seats in this arena. These 2 right here, and it's meant to speed up the sales process. Now, a lot of people go, "Oh, I want to pick up my seats." Okay, and that's fine. It's good to give people the option, but it's the order of operations that matter. Do you want me to pick them out? Because I can pick them out, and they're right here, or you can pick them out, and you're choosing to opt into that chaos of the 20,000 options. Okay, so something to think about as you're moving forward. And I do agree that like the filter, and that is really filtering. Okay, it needs to start on some sort of category inside of all the meals, instead of all the meals mashed together. Agreed, totally agreed. That's a good observation. I want to update the whole checkout process. Now remember, checkout process was smooth before, so we got to be careful here. I think the information is all there, but I don't want users to click through so many different pages. I also want to adjust the microcopy with shipping terms to make it more clear. This is very important, and I've spoken about this numerous times in the program about how that microcopy and the terms that you use can really smooth out or add barriers to people working through your prototype. Microcopy is crucial to get right. I've personally worked on projects where the terminology, like using the word section can be very loaded because everybody has a different idea of what a section is. So you've got to watch out for things like that aren't specific enough. Like shipping, you meant delivery, but shipping means package. For a lot of people, shipping means package traveling over large distances. When you're talking about food, I don't want my food shipped to me. I want my food delivered to me, and I want it to come from like over there to here because I want it to be fresh. And something that is shipped can't possibly be fresh. But how do groceries get to the grocery store? They are shipped. Anyway, so I want to improve the how it works page. Make it more clear that this is a subscription service. I will possibly add a drop down in the menu that separates how the service works and what the service is. Okay, that's interesting. You might also consider like a tab controller, or I say tab. Tab is very webby. Segmented controller is very Apple iOS, but they're both the same thing, a switcher between the two. How it works, what it is, how it works, what it is. and you might flip it. It's like, what is this? How does it work? Um, I want to update the layout for a lot of things, specifically the meal descriptions. I could possibly add more photos and adjust how the description is laid out. I need to consider the length of text, and this is you. This is the interface program coming out in you, because we've talked a lot about variable lengths of data, like the length of dish names, the length of people names, the length of text. Sometimes it's short, sometimes it's long. You have to have that flexibility in your design to accommodate things that you don't have control over. And this is where the pixel perfect designer, their world crumbles down, because when you add live data and updating data to a designer who is used to having all the content right in front of them at the point of design conception and completion, it is very difficult for them to understand that this information is going to change, so the design can't just be perfect. And that's why if you have to break it down, I design with space more than I design with pixels. This box that will hold this content has 20 pixels to the top and bottom. And that box should grow or shrink dependent on, or maybe it has a minimum height. Again, I'm designing with space. And I think that mastery of the box model, where does the padding go? Where does the margin go? That's the real unlock when it comes to dealing with these variable links. But so much growth for you is coming through the fact that you are now acknowledging, before you're getting started with it, that this is something that you need to be thinking about. Prior to the interface exercises, I don't think that would have come up. And now I think that, like, we've gone over that enough. It's like, for you, Katie, it's grids and length of text. Like that variable length thing, and then just alignment. If you can nail those two things, you're going to go a long way. So, based on the feedback I got, I need to change how the filter options bar on the menu. I think I think I will maybe add something that scrolls with the page, so it's clear what the users are looking at. That's one that I'd more or less likely have to kind of see to understand what you mean. Is it fixed to the top? Is it static and the page scrolls and it's static? It's basically positioned and locked in position. We'll have to see that one. But what I see overall is I see 5 target areas that you have an idea of what the problem is, and you also have some ideas about how you might go about fixing it. And that's exactly what you're looking for from an audit. So bravo. This could you have tackled other things? Probably. That doesn't mean that this is invalid. I think that this is pretty good. My main goal with the audit is just to lock you back in step with the project, and it's impossible to do if you've spent so much time away and we just say, okay, and now let's start doing stuff. It's like, whoa, pause. I gotta figure this out. So now you've reviewed the work, and again, one of the things I like to do is I like to go back and look at the project itself, and make sure that some of the things that you're talking about make sense, and like the menu page, like it's just overwhelming. It reminds me. This reminds me right now of like one of those all-night diners where they make everything under the sun, and you walk in and you're like, they've got thousands of things on the menu, and I have no idea what I want. I'm just gonna get a hamburger because I can't process everything, and I'm just gonna get what I know they'll probably have, because gosh, there's so much stuff. Or I'm gonna get a euro. I'm gonna get a euro. Do they have other things? Yeah, sure. I don't want to stress. I'm going to stress out if I try to like consume all this. That's what you've got going on here, and I think the categorization it makes a lot of sense. So anyway, always going back, and we do this a lot. We do this a lot. We always circle back to the work that was done before. The one thing I would make sure that you do, preserve a copy. Like come over here and duplicate it right there to make sure that you've got a copy of the original. Therefore, you can and that makes it easy to move forward. All right. Let's move on to Charlie. Where's Charlie at? Charlie's over here, and he said that he's got updates that he's made. So I want to make sure we refresh everything. Yeah. Okay, so we're refreshed. This is Charlie's homepage, and he's made some adjustments. Overall, what I'm going to say right away is like this is so much further down the pipe than where you started at. Like the homepage alone, it's shocking to me how far it's come so quickly. It was a hot mess, just to be completely honest with you, prior to the latest updates that you've made, like some of the spacing. Now we can actually see the projects. I will say that it's very mobile heavy. Now it stands out as being very mobile heavy. Before it was just like, why is this so disjointed? And you didn't even look at the work. It's just like, now it's like, wow, very mobile heavy. I do think that if you were to go through and add a project down the path, down the road, I would consider adding something web related, something that wasn't so, because web is a little more flexible. Mobile has some very specific standards that we're going to judge the work by. Basically, if this does not look like it was created for iOS or Android, I'm going to be asking, okay, so what's going on here? Why are we avoiding these best practices? With web, it's a little more forgiving. There's a little more room to run. So just keep that in mind. So we've got this. I like it overall. I will say that when we like here, like I this is all works, product strategist and UX UI designer working remotely from Maine. That's all great. When we scroll up, I then notice that this is not floating in. It's not midway between. It's like heavily to the bottom, and I'm wondering why. And it looks like, so here's the container, and then it's like something's pressing on it, and I can't sort out what is pressing it down. I imagine it's probably the head. No. Huh, it's interesting. Something's, oh, there we go. Flex, padding. Okay, maybe it's just this top piece that needs to, yeah, it's just, there's a padding on the top for the sticky, and it doesn't really need to be there. And what stands out, that 10 really stands out when you come up in size. And why did it get taller there? Like it gets taller. Where does it get? Oh, weird. Okay. So there it's taller, and okay, so there's a height here. Like, where is that height coming from? Now the head, it's not coming from the head. It's not coming from those. Oh, interesting. Well, that shouldn't. It's very interesting because oh, okay, never mind. I'm sorry. I was just I had scrolled down. That's what was causing it. Okay. I couldn't tell because of the blue that was behind it. Okay, now it's fine. So I would remove that 10 to the top, and that would that will allow this to like reside, and it you know it's only telling when you're down in one of these other sections and you can kind of see the difference. From there, I do begin to look at the color choices, and you know it's like each of these is a different blue, and I'm wondering why. Um, you know, and then we come back to the original. It's like I want to simplify the blues. Um, you know, you've got the blue up here, and that's fine. You know, and you've got this alternative blue here, and then you've got this blue, and then a third blue. And I'm wondering, like, you know, if we come in here and we look at, I want to look at this particular section right here. So let's inspect this section next. I'm just going to come down here. I want to add this to top spin. Okay. So all I've done is I've taken the color from here and I've added it. So hi there, I'm Charlie. Design reads Pandora, top spin, and you're back to this. I don't necessarily know it, like this blue and that blue are pretty close. Like they're pretty close. So I'm wondering, you know, if that's the only place where, if this is the only place where that blue is appearing, I'm kind of wondering why. And the other thing I'm wondering is, like, if I look in down here to the footer, you know, what if I gave your footer that other color, and then we, you know, let's inspect this element really fast, and we say, okay, yeah, I want to pick up that color, and for Pandora here, I'm going to inspect that element. I'm going to change this. And now what we've done is we've got your color, we've got the dark blue, we've got the Pandora, we've got the dark blue, we've got your logo, and then we've got the footer. And basically, we've taken two of the colors that were kind of just out there and said, okay, we're going to simplify this to two colors. I've got the dark blue and I've got the regular blue, and we're just going to go with that. Okay? Now it's a lot less like, why is that color there? Why is this other color there? And I think that overall it works. It's less jarring. Okay? It's less like, why are these colors here? The other thing I'm looking at is like some of the spacing down here in the footer, and this might be, yeah, some of the spacing down here could, you know, it's like, could we do something more with this? Could we make it like a 2-column design, and then like have it be a proper footer that basically could collapse back down? But I want to, you know, again, have I mentioned the footer to you before? No. Why? Because we had so many other things to worry about. All right. I think that now focusing some time on the footer makes a lot of sense. The other thing about that I noticed is like the head's cutting off. Maybe this is, you know, the trouble here is you got the head and you got the head and you got the head, and it's like really focused on the head. I think that, you know, the addition, like maybe I would pull this one out. It's just calling a lot of attention to the personal branding thing. And also, if you're wanting the head to peek out, maybe like having it peek out literally off the bottom. You know, you could actually go a little larger off the bottom if you wanted to. in the middle, or you peeking up off the side, like something. It would be fun. Right now, it's just kind of like it's just like whoop, chopping off. If you really wanted to chop off, I would put this bar in a different color, so you're kind of like peeking out. Um, but my main thing here is like simplification of the color scheme will, and that I refreshed, and you can kind of see it's like now it's back to where it was. Um, it it needs and or wants to, like right now with this all being the same color, like there's no structure down here. It just kind of all just like floats around. I think this footer definitely needs an alternative color. Um, let's simplify this. Fewer colors are better. Pick a couple and go with that. Adjust this header so that you get less of this. Not a mistake, a mistake. Like, whoa, what's going on? Okay. With that said, I know that you've also got this over here. And right away, like one of the first things I notice is as I go down, whoa, refresh. What's going on here? That's really tight. I'm not sure why that's like this. Oh, interesting. Yeah, there's something up here. I was first just drawn to the fact that this is like clearly blown off the edge, like, and I don't know necessarily why. I'm going to inspect element here just to see how that's created. Is it like is it an error? No, it's pretty consistently in there. Yeah, it's like your shape is here, but as you can clearly see like something's pushing it out. Oh, you got like a padding left here on container 3. Now, I don't know what container 3 is being used for. Maybe that padding has to be there for something else. Might be where I create a style for container 3, and then I create a style for intro, and I just remove that. But it's pretty much wrecking it from the start. This intro here is like this container 60. It's just kind of, it's struggling, to be honest with you, for lack of any better term. I am. Oh, interesting. Okay, so you've gone with process prototype. So design reads. That's fine. Fix this thing here at the top. Gotta fix this. That's not gonna work. I am curious. Like you've gone with the route of moving away from any of the visuals, and now you're, if I click over here on process, now I jump into design process. I'm not sure what this visual is supposed to be. It looks like this might be design reads. I'm wondering if are we back to obscuring the work? Also, like, if this is like, why is the image square? And it's kind of like an Instagram has been posted here. Like, I would think that it would be at least like that. It would take the shape of the column. It could go across. Maybe this is where you show the initial sketch, and then you show like an early prototype, and then you show a later prototype, and then you show the final. And heck, you could even create a GIF that like expand it across if you want it to. But like right now, it's not showing me much to begin with. It's kind of dark. I'm not really drawn to it. Then as we get into this, then we're back into the, this is a lot of space to take up between these. I really do think like stacking them like here, like creating a grid structure to where like those three things could be stacked together, or heck, maybe do they just exist together here? Um, Something to allow these things to like work together. I do think that like if you created a grid structure and you said, okay, competitive analysis is here, and here are the things that I studied. That oh, I didn't mean to take that picture. That's stupid. Um, that would give you at least some sort of approach. User research, this is fine. Surveys, again, that looks great. The spacing here is a bit much. Nice little hover effect there. Personas, this is again, I would definitely come in and say, okay, Megan Wade is here, and then this information is off to the side. To try right now you've got, you're swimming in this extra space that's in here, and I've mentioned some of this before. Storyboard, that's fine. I am curious about the caption size that you're using. It seems like it's almost the same size, or maybe even a little larger. Um, I'm curious about that. Information architecture, seems like that this is kind of struggling. It's like is it able to really like stand out? Maybe it needs some line work or something. Some space. User flows, wireframes, midfill prototype. This is kind of again floating around in space. There's a lot of like the spacing's tight here. There's a lot of space here, and I'm not really, I'm focused on this, and that's great, but I'm not sure it's a bit large. And then okay, so we got problem solution here, but I can't get the whole thing on the screen at once to get down to the content. Maybe this is a situation where you make it 3 columns, and like problems here, solutions here, and this content is in the middle. Or maybe it's 4 columns and it's problem, solution, problem, text, solution, text, and it goes across. You've got a lot more of it here, and I think that right now the biggest problem is like it's really long. So a lot of times it's like I can't see it in enough detail. Now I've got possibly too much detail, if that's a thing. Also, the labels that you have here, it's like these are similar. They're just kind of squished, and I think this could use a secondary label style that allows these to separate a bit, because this is really meant for new section, and maybe this is a new section, but these labels need to feel separate from that. All right. So I've thrown out quite a bit there. I think we'll come back to more of it. We'll go into greater detail later, but as far as this goes, I want to see something that more encapsulate and says process here. This is just kind of dark photo of desk, doesn't say process. I want to see grid structure being used here. This is fine. I want to see grid structure being used here. This is where we begin to talk about typography and spacing. As we come down, this is again like, is there a grid structure solution and a typography solution that can elevate this? Those are the spots that I would work on here now, because as we come back through this, like here's design reads, you got some spacing issues here, spacing issue there. I almost think that you need some other visual on this page to, like, it starts off fine. Like I have a sense of what it is, but it ends so abruptly. Like, I want to kind of, I think it would be helpful if I had something to accompany the what I learned. And I'm not necessarily sure what that would be. Um, but the other thing I'm wondering about is like the grid structure, like problem solution go wide, but nothing else really does. So I'm it's a, it's it's fine, but it's broken apart now. So it's like this needs a little more visual weight that isn't here because everything else has been broken apart. Um, so I would work on that. I would focus in on, is there something I can do to draw more attention down here that will meet that criteria? Okay. All right. But again, we go back to the homepage. Homepage is light years better. I would simplify the color scheme though, and adjust these links up here, and then I would focus some time on the footer. All right. Okay. That is going to do it, ladies and gentlemen. I want to check and make sure. Well, let's see here. Maybe it's not. Oh no. Tropical storms. Remote life. I just getting the word, got a session canceled for later today because of the tropical storm that's blowing up the East Coast, and want to emphasize that's part of this. When you're doing something remote, the flexibility is there for us to work together anytime that you are available. Okay, and that's the great news. Not a big deal. We can totally work around that tropical storm. I've worked around volcanoes, literal volcanoes. Worked around hurricanes, which that's kind of like the tropical storm. Worked around earthquakes, babies being born, parents dying, kidneys failing, car crashes, house fires. When you participate in a remote educational experience, when you participate in anything remote, that world, whatever's happening in the world, is happening where you're at. I'm not in a tropical storm, but now one of my students is, so I'm kind of in a tropical storm. But that's okay. Don't ever sweat it. Okay? Don't ever go like, oh gosh, I'm gonna miss this thing with Chris. We will work around it. There's no, when you're in a storm. Like, I had a student from Houston, and their house was literally underwater, and they were like, hey, I've got a my house is flooded. I can't have the call today. It's like, you've got other things to worry about. I appreciate the call. I appreciate knowing, but past that, like, don't sweat it. It's okay. We will catch up. So just understand that when you're trying to better yourself, you need people around you that are going to be helpful, and that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to try to help you better yourself. So, Luigi, don't sweat that tropical storm. Like, do your thing. We'll catch up like tomorrow or something. For the rest of you, I do have calls with some of you, and the tropical storm isn't encompassing the entire United States or Israel. So I will look forward to chatting with a lot of you later today. And otherwise, for everybody else, have a great day, and I look forward to seeing you again right here in the feedback loop tomorrow. Take care.